This is a painting of Chinnamasta, one of the 10 tantric wisdom goddesses of Hinduism. And it's painted by Sundar Sinkhwal based on an original drawing by Uday Charan Shrestha. Chinnamasta is perhaps one of the most complex, enigmatic, perplexing deities of the Hindu tradition. And what we have here is Shiva and Parvati lost in making love with each other. What's unique to this composition that's particular to Chinnamasta's iconography is that in their lovemaking, Parvati, the female consort, is on top. So we have Parvati and Shiva making love, and from the energy of their sexual union, we have an image of Chinnamasta, this goddess with blood-red skin, firm, beautiful breasts, a narrow waist, thick, delicious thighs, dancing on their bodies with two young attendants next to her. And the story is that these attendants were very hungry and there was no food. So Chinnamasta cuts off her own head to feed her attendants. And what we have is blood pouring out of the three channels. Blood flows from Chinnamasta's neck into the two mouths of her attendants, and then from the central channel, the blood flows right back into her mouth. And she holds her severed head in a skull cup. Many people would say that all of the essence of tantric teaching can be found in this composition. The act of lovemaking is an image of creation or procreation. Chinnamasta destroying herself, killing herself, is an image of destruction. And then, of course, ingesting her own blood is an image of regeneration. So the whole cycle of existence is depicted in this image. He has made no efforts to simplify this composition. If you look very closely at the details behind Chinnamasta's body, some of those floral motifs that we find in classical Newar art are here used in a very different way. The mandorla is studded with these beautiful blue medallions and then surrounded by dried human skulls that we can see here. The whole thing takes place on a multicolored lotus, and then we have these witnesses. There's a yogi sitting outside of his cave, looking up at the scene and offering a fruit. We have a Nagini, a female cobra spirit, looking up at the scene as well with her hands clasped in prayer. A corpse burning on a pyre with crows, vultures, and howling dogs. And then we have a Buddhist stupa, and here a Shivalingam, which is a Hindu image here. So we have something very typical of the Kathmandu Valley. It's a blending of Hinduism and Buddhism. The sun and the moon both appear as well in the sky. One interpretation of this is that what we call in Sanskrit the Brahma Muhurta, which Brahma Muhurta means the ambrosial hours, and those are believed to be between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning, which is the ideal time for any sort of spiritual practice. But it's also believed that that's the time that the deities come out and play. So by showing the sun and the moon there, the artist is showing that this is that space between night and day. The sun and the moon, also depicted as white and red, are representing duality and the union of duality. White, one could say white like semen, and red like menstrual blood. Well, it's very important when we're looking at these paintings to understand something very crucial that makes this kind of work different from other kinds of art that you might be seeing. Now, my family comes from India, and we come from a sect of Hinduism that's called the Pushti Marg, which is the path of grace. And it's a tradition where we're known for really kind of worshiping images. Krishna, for example, is the primary god of our sect, and in our tradition we have an image of Krishna, and he has various outfits and jewelry and adornments, ornaments. And so we relate to these images of the deities, and there's supposed to be this kind of transmission that takes place. So what makes this work so important and very different is this is actually functional art. This is work that has a very specific purpose. It has the capacity to transform the viewer, to inspire the viewer. And so I feel that it's a very important piece when looking at this work to take away from the images after seeing them, that they're more than just beautiful images of unusual and bizarre deities, but there's actually, this is a reality that in the Hindu and Buddhist traditions people believe is a reality far more real than the world that we live in.